Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in this morning. Let's first double check the audio and please let us know if you can hear us loud and clear. We'll be using the question panel on the right side of the screen, and you can use this panel to send us all of your questions throughout the webinar. So let's first check that you can hear us loud and clear. If you can send us a quick message just to confirm that the audio is loud and clear. Thank you, Mr. Ron. Thank you, Mr. Roland. Thank you, Stefania. All right. So now let's just wait a couple of minutes for everyone to join in, and then we'll be starting our webinar in about 2 minutes. A quick reminder that all of our E-Series stock is already in Miami as well as in Texas for delivery. So I think now it's time to start. So hello everyone, welcome to our webinar, Discover the latest NDAA certified products from E-Series Video Surveillance. And a quick reminder that this webinar will be recorded and sent to your email right after the webinar. I would like to welcome Roberto Jauregui from AppCom, who will be our presenter for today's webinar. Please send us all of your questions during the webinar. We will be using the same question panel on the right side of the screen that you just used. And at the end, we'll have a panel for the Q&A questions that you may have about the webinar, and we'll be happy to answer all of your questions. For those of you just joining in, welcome. And Roberto, now we're ready to start.
Hello, how's everyone doing today? I hope you're all having a good day. We are going to start with the E-Series presentation. We have a couple new products in line that we have received over the course of a couple months. We are also getting new products, not just these, but later on we are expanding from this line as well. If Michael is going to be here helping me with the presentation. If you would like to go on to the next slide, please, Michael. Okay, so in basis, the E-Series line is going to consist of DVRs, NVRs, our TurboHD line, which is going to be the analog cameras. We're also going to have IP cameras, and we're going to talk about the management software and other applications that we have to offer with this new line of DVRs and cameras. If you would like to go next, please. All right, now we're going to start talking about the TurboHD line of analog cameras. The first one we have here is the 2 megapixel turret. It's 1080p, it's 24/7 color, and it has a 2.8 millimeter lens and has an IP rating of 67. Just a little recap of, in case some people don't know what IP67 is, it is a line of protection that 67 is on the higher end of the spectrum for protection. It protects against mid to high pressure amounts of water. So you can install these and not worry about any floods or any high pressure amounts of water like sprinklers or something like that. If you would like to go next, please. This is our other turret. It's also 2 megapixels, but it's not 24/7. This is on the economic side of our analog cameras. This is the economic turret. It's 30 meters of infrared. It has a 4-in-1 protocols, so it has TVI, HD, CVI, and CVBS, and it also has an IP rating of 67 and a lens of 2.8. Please go next. This is our 2 megapixel bullet. It's 1080p and it has 24/7 color. It also has an IP rating of 67. Most of these lines are going to have an IP rating of 67, so you don't have to worry about any water or anything coming inside. This also supports up to the 4 technologies: TVI, HD, CVI, and CVBS. And if you would like to go next, please. This is our 5 megapixel turret. It has 30 meters of infrared. It has a 4-in-1 for the protocol technologies, and it has a lens of 3.6 millimeters. This turret has Coaxitron audio, and it has a built-in mic. So with Coaxitron and a built-in mic, you can either have it so you can have it without the Coaxitron, or you can have it with the built-in mic already put down. So you just need the coax cable and the power supply to power up the camera if you just like to use the built-in mic. Or if you'd like to use a Coaxitron audio, then you would need to use a balloon for that. Most of these cameras, most of our analog cameras are just 12 volts. And if you would like to go next, please, on to the next camera. This is our 4K turret. It's a 4-in-1 protocols. It has 3.6 millimeter lens and it has an IP rating of 67, and it has Coaxitron audio. This does not have a built-in microphone. The audio aspect will only, it does have a built-in microphone, I'm sorry. It has built-in microphone and it has a Coaxitron audio. If you would like to go next, please. This is our new line of bullets. It's a 5 megapixel bullet. It has a infrared of 30 meters. It's 3-in-1, not 4-in-1, so it only supports TVI, HD, and CVI. It does not support CVBS. It has a lens of 3.6 millimeters, and it has both a built-in microphone and Coaxitron audio. The casing of this is metal, so it'll be very hard for it to be dented or it to be broken. It has a power consumption of 12 volts, as well as all the other analog cameras of this line. And if you would like to go next, please. This is our new 2 megapixel bullet. This one has a 50 meter of infrared distance, and it has a motorized lens. And the motorized lens is 2.8 millimeters up to 12 millimeters. It has an IP rating of 67, and it is also metal. So for the motorized lens, basically once you set it up, you can zoom in and out and basically adjust how you would like to view the camera directly from the application or from the DVR or NVR. If you'd like to go next, please. Right now we are done with the line of analog cameras. Now we are going to go on to the DVRs. The DVRs that we currently have are the Slim series, which is basically the more economical side of the DVRs, which are going to be the small white ones that you guys are more comfortable with and more compatible with. And then the 4000 series, which is the more, it's like the mid-end line of the DVRs, and then the 8000 series, which is the high end of the DVRs. If you would like to go next. Right now we're going to start off with our Slim series. This is the S04 Turbo Gen 3. It supports up to 4 channels of Turbo HD, so 4 analog ports, and it has an additional 2 IP, so it's a total of 6 channels in total. So you can add 4 analog cameras and 2 IP cameras. It supports only 1 hard drive. This DVR is only compatible with 1080p cameras. So if you try to add a higher megapixel count for the DVR, it's not going to work. You need to put down the resolution in order for it to work with that DVR. This DVR supports cloud recording. You need the adapter cloud in order to record from the cloud, and it also supports the cloud recording, the license. So you need a license and the cloud for you to record on our cloud. It's a server. It's server based completely. You don't need a hard disk for anything. And it also supports P2P. If you'd like to go next, please. This is our 8-channel side of the Slim series. It's the S8, is S08 Turbo Gen 3. This is also 1080p, but in this one, the difference between this one is it has a total of 10 channels, so 8 analog and 2 IP channels. Also, the difference between this one and the old and the other one, the 4-channel one only supports up to 2 megapixels for IP. This one supports up to 5 megapixels IP. So you can have a higher resolution in the IP camera department than you would have on the 4-channel one. This one supports up to 1 hard drive as well, and it supports up to the 4 protocols and has 1 audio channel. And if you would like to go next, we're going to start with our 4000 series. This is the EV4008 Turbo Gen 3. It's a 5 megapixel DVR, and it has 8 turbo analog channels and 4 IP, so a total of 12 channels. The IP channels is going to have a maximum of 5 megapixels. It supports up to 1 drive disk, and it has H.265 rating and supports up to the 4 protocols. This DVR also has 8 individual audio channels, and it supports Coaxitron audio. Most of these DVRs will have 12 volts. The analog side mostly is going to have 12 volts of power consumption. Once we move on to the IP side of things, you're gonna see a higher consumption of power. But for now, it's just going to be 12 volts. If you'd like to move next, please. This is going to be our 16-channel analog DVR. It's the EV4016 Turbo Gen 3. This is also 5 megapixels. It has 8 IP channels for a total of 24 channels in total, 16 analog and 8 IP. The IP channels on this one will be 5 megapixels, and this supports up to 2 hard drive disks, up for a total of 10 terabytes each. This has 4 different protocols: HD, TVI, CVBS, and CVI. It has 8 individual audio channels, and it supports Coaxitron audio as well. All of these DVRs will support the cloud recording if you are interested in the cloud recording, so you don't have to buy a hard drive disk. You can just record on our servers. More on that, we have more on that later. If you would like to go next, please. If I'm going too fast, let me know. This is our 32-channel analog DVR. It's a 5 megapixels, and it's our one of our new ones. So it's 32 analog channels on top of 8 IP for a total of 40 channels in total. It supports up to 4 hard drive bays, which are 10 terabytes each, so you can have up to 40 terabytes in total. This DVR supports H.265 and 264. It does not support 265 plus. This DVR also supports Coaxitron audio and the 4 protocols, and it has 16 audio channels in total. It also supports P2P, and the power consumption normally on this DVR is 100 to 240 VCA. If you would like to go next, please. This is going to be our 8000 series DVRs. This is normally our high-end DVRs. This one is the EV8008 Turbo. It's 8 megapixel 4K. It has 8 channels of analog. It has 8 channels for analog and 8 channels for IP. The IP channels, the IP resolution for this one will be 8 megapixels in total, and it supports up to 2 hard drive disk bays with 10 terabytes each, so 20 terabytes in total. And the video output for this DVR is 4K. It also supports H.265, not 265 plus. It also supports up to the 4 protocols, the HD, CVI, CVBS, and CVI. This DVR also supports 8 audio channels in total and supports Coaxitron audio. And the power consumption to this DVR is 12 volts. And it also supports P2P. Can you go next, please? This is one of our newer DVRs that we've received. It's the EV8016 Turbo Gen 3. This is also a 8 megapixel 4K, but it has 8 additional analog ports, so 16 in total for analog, and it also has 8 IP channels for a total of 24 in total. It also supports two hard drive disk bays, just like the older one, so 20 terabytes in total. The video output is 4K, and once again, it's H.265, not 265 plus. It supports the 4 protocols, and it has 8 individual audio channels, and it supports Coaxitron audio. The power consumption to this DVR is 12 volts, 4 amps, and it also supports P2P. Please go next. This is the kit. The kit includes a 1 K08 Turbo Gen 3, 2 E8 Turbo P Gen 3 cameras, 1 power supply for both cameras, and 2 video cables that are 3 foot long. A little about this kit. Everything that you're seeing in this kit is only going to be available with this kit. You can't buy the cameras or the DVR separately. It has to be in the kit. So we're going to talk about a little bit about the DVR. The DVR is 8 video channels up to 5 megapixels. It supports 8 analog video channels and 4 IP. So for a total of 12 channels. The IP channels that it's going to be included is going to be 1080p, no more. It supports the 5 technologies, so TVI, HD, CVI, CVBS, and IP. It supports up to 1 hard drive disk bay, so up to 10 terabytes. The hard drive is not included. You're gonna have to buy that in separately. The video output is full 1080p. Is VGA, and HDMI outputs. The power consumption is 12 volts. It's compatible with the SuperCam Plus, which is our application to view the cameras on your app on the phone. And it's not compatible with HitConnect or IVMS 4200. The cameras, the E8 Turbo P Gen 3s, which you see on your right, the maximum resolution is 2 megapixels, so 1080p. The lens is 2.8 millimeters. It has an infrared of 20 meters. And this one is not 24/7 color. It supports up to the 4 technologies, TVI, CVI, HD, and CVBS. It has a dWDR, it's BLC, and HLC. It's a plastic housing, it's not a metal housing. And the junction box, which is optional, is the EJ box U, which is the universal junction box for these cameras. Once again, you can't buy these outside of the kit. You have to buy the kit to have all the products inside the kit. You can't buy it outside of it. Can you go next, please? This is going to be our IP line of cameras first we're going to talk about a little bit about the IP cameras, and then we're going to be talking about the NVRs that we're offering. Our first IP camera is going to be the Bullet. It's a 4 megapixels. It's PoE, and it has a infrared of 30 meters. It has dWDR, has a micro SD, and an IP rating of 67. The lens is 2.8 millimeters, and it supports cloud recording. The power consumption is 12 volts or PoE, and an NVR or DVR is needed for P2P. This camera does not support H.265 plus. It only supports 265 and 264. If you'd like to go next, please. All of these IP cameras will support the Epcon Cloud, which is the server-based recording adapter that we are liking to provide with these cameras. This is our IP turret. It's 4 megapixels. It is also PoE, and it has an infrared rating of 30 meters. The functions that it has is wide dynamic range, HLC, and BLC. It has a micro SD and has an IP rating of 67. These micro SD storages that are on the IP cameras are up to 128 gigabytes. If you guys would like to know that. The audio in, audio out, they have a built-in mic. They support smart events, and it supports OnViv. And also this camera needs an NVR DVR for P2P. Can you go next, please? Our IP turret is 5 megapixels. This one's 24/7 color, and it's PoE. A little thing about these IP cameras is with supports OnViv. Basically, what that means is a video interface protocol. So it works with other DVRs or NVRs if it supports the OnViv protocol. So as long as your DVR and NVR supports OnViv, you can use these cameras on any DVR or NVR as long as it has the OnViv protocol. This camera supports dWDR, HLC, and BLC. This camera's video compression supports H.265 plus. Basically, all of the video compression, the compression methods, 265 plus, 265, 264 plus, and 264. It has a built-in mic. This micro SD on the camera doesn't have 128 gigabytes, it has 256 gigabytes, so it's a little bigger than the others. And it also supports OnViv. If you'd like to go next, please. This is our 8 megapixel turret. It's 4K, PoE, has an infrared of 30 meters. The functions on this camera is dWDR, HLC, and BLC. This also has a micro SD storage up to 256 gigabytes, just like the other one. This has a built-in mic and one audio input, and it supports OnViv. And the power consumption is 12 volts direct or PoE. Would you like to go next? This is our new 8 megapixel bullet. It's PoE. It has a 30 meter for infrared, and it has a WDR of 120 dBs, and it has a micro SD up to 128 gigabytes. So it's on the smaller end for the other ones. This has a built-in microphone, but there is no cable for audio out. It has notifications for smart events, and it supports OnViv. The power consumption is 12 volts or PoE, and this supports P2P. If you'd like to go next. This is our 4 megapixel turret. It's PoE. It has a infrared range of 50 meters, and it has a WDR range of 120 dBs. The micro SD on this IP camera is up to 128 gigabytes. Once again, on the smaller end, but it's still pretty good. It has an audio channel for one mic. It's only input, it's not output. It has smart events and it supports OnViv, and it supports P2P. The compressions that it supports is H.265 and H.264. If you'd like to go next, please.
Robert, a quick question between we pass to the next slide. Mr. Ron is asking about the mic, and he's asking us about the one-channel mic. I don't know if you can tell us more about it. He's asking, like, do we have a mic but we don't have audio, or we can have a two-way audio from the app of the camera direct to the DVR or to the NVR?
So the one-channel mic, it's not two-way audio.
I'm sorry, yes, I think my mic was muted. So the question from Mr. Ron is about the mic. So he's asking us, can we have the one channel directly as a two-way audio, or it's only to record on the NVR or in the app? If you can tell us more about it.
Okay, so the one-channel mic, it's just to record on the NVR side. If you're going through the browser trying to set up the IP camera and stuff like that, you will be able to hear the audio. You won't be able to like talk through it. It's not a two-way mic like you've seen on other cameras. It's just one channel throughout there, so you can record it, but it's not like you talking to another person on the other side of the camera, or and them hearing you. It's only for recording purposes.
Got it. Thank you, Robert. And another question from Ron is the recording, it's via OnViv and all these NVRs?
The recording?
Yes.
Yeah, the recording for the audio?
He's not specifying that, so I guess yes.
Well, as long as you have the camera connected to an NVR and it's working, then it will be recording the audio, yes, through OnViv or through any protocol. As long as it's working, then you should be recording the audio.
Great, thank you, Robert. And please keep sending us all of your questions, and we'll have the Q&A panel at the end of the presentation, so we can have a time with Robert, so he can let us know more about your questions. So now we can continue, Robert.
One more thing I'd like to put in. Sometimes this has happened before, where if you're installing a camera, it's not just these, it's others as well. If you're installing a camera and you don't hear the audio, normally some cameras do come as video only on default. So you would have to go into the settings of the camera and change it from video only to video and audio. Either that, or sometimes for whatever reason they come muted. So you just have to put up the audio a little bit and you should be able to hear it. But if you have any more questions, then I would be happy to answer them at the end of the presentation. No problem. We're here for you. So going on with the presentation, if you would like to go to the next slide, please. This is one of our new 5 megapixel bullets that we've gotten recently. It is 24/7 color. It has a 30 meters of WDR. The micro SD on this camera is up to 256 gigabytes. The audio on this is just one channel, and it supports smart events. The notifications it supports it, so it'll give you notification through your phone. It supports OnViv and has a power consumption of 12 volts, and it supports P2P. The compression it supports is H.265 and H.264. And this camera's IP rating is of 67, so indoor, outdoor, it doesn't really, it's not going to affect anything. If you'd like to move on to the next slide. This is the 2 megapixel turret. It has 24/7 color, it's PoE, and the infrared range is of 30 meters. It has the functions that it supports is WDR, HLC, and BLC. It has a micro SD storage of up to 256 gigabytes. It has a built-in microphone and one audio input. The built-in mic, this is the one that you can have a two-way connection between. So if you're talking through the mic, they can hear you on the other side of the camera. And also, if someone's talking on the other side of the camera, you will be able to hear them through your phone. The compression that this supports is H.265 plus, 265, 264 plus, and 264. It also supports P2P, and the power consumption is of 12 volts or PoE. If you'd like to go on to the next one. This is also our newer lines of cameras. This is our 4 megapixel PTZ camera. It has a max zoom of 25 times. It has an infrared rating of 150 meters. The rating on this PTZ is of IP66, so it's a little less resistant than the IP67, but it's not really that big of a jump from IP67. IP66 is basically just a little, like, it's not as high pressured water, but high pressured water could get into the PTZ. This PTZ has a couple presets on it, has a patrol pattern, has 360, and it has the patterns are 8 and 4. The compression it supports is H.265 plus, 265, 264 plus, and 264. The functions that it supports are WDR, HLC, and BLC. The lens that this PTZ has is a 4.8 millimeter lens up to 120 millimeters with a 25 times optical zoom. And the wall support is included, since it's not like the other wall supports that are on the other PTZs. It also has a micro SD of up to 256 gigabytes. It has the ability to have one audio input and one audio output. It also has one input for alarms and one output for alarms. The input for the alarm is going to be a dry contact. It cannot be a wet contact. It has to be a dry. If you'd like to move on, please. This is our 6 megapixel fisheye camera.
Do you want to talk to them?
It has an infrared rating of 30 meters. It supports dWDR, HLC, and BLC. The compressions that it supports is H.265, H.264, and it supports P2P. So it has a view of 180 and a 360, and you can mount it on the wall or the ceiling, and it comes with the mount. It supports OnViv. It has one audio input and a built-in microphone, and it has one audio output. The micro SD storage is up to 256, and the power consumption is 12 volts or PoE. Move on to the next slide, please. This will be our line of NVRs. We're going to start off here with our new line, our new more economic like line of NVRs. This is the XR14 4 Gen 3. This is a 8 megapixel 4K NVR, and it's 4 IP channels, and it supports 1 hard drive, and the video output is 4K. It supports cloud recording, and it supports the compression of up to 265 plus. It also supports P2P, and it supports simultaneous users to be online. The power consumption is 48 up to a minimum of 1.25 amps. If you would like to go next, please. This is our 8-channel NVR. It's the XR18 8 Gen 3. It's a 8 megapixel NVR 4K. It has a total of 8 IP channels. It supports 1 hard drive bay for a total of up to 10 terabytes. It has a video output of 4K, and the compression it supports is up to H.265 plus. This also supports cloud recording. It has 2 USB 2.0 ports, and the compression it supports is, like I said, H.265 plus, 265 and 264. It supports P2P, and the power consumption is 48 volts. If you'd like to go next, please. This is our 16-channel NVR. It's the XR216 16 Gen 3. It's a 8 megapixel 4K, 16 channels of IP in total. It supports up to 2 hard drive bays, so 20 terabytes in total, and the video output is up to 4K. The compression that it supports is H.265 plus, and it supports cloud recording. It also supports P2P. It has 2 ports of USB 2.0s, and the power consumption is 48 volts. Can you go next, please? This is one of our newer lines of NVRs. It is a 32-channel XR432 16 Gen 3. It's 8 megapixels 4K. Now, it says 32 channels, but it only has 16, as you see, 16 PoE ports. But when you boot up the device, it'll show 32 channels in total. So it's up to 32 channels, but you're going to need a 16 port switch separately, so you can power on the other 16 cameras, so you can view the 32 channels in total on this NVR. This supports 4 hard drive disk bays of up to 40 terabytes, and the video output is 4K. The compression that it supports is up to H.265 plus, and it supports cloud recording. This NVR supports P2P, and it supports multiple simultaneous users. The power consumption is 100 to 240 VCA. If you'd like to go next, please. These are some of the products that are coming soon. We don't have it yet, but we will be having it in the upcoming maybe couple months. I don't want to give an exact time, but we are working on getting these products here as soon as possible. If you'd like to go on the next slide. This is going to be the 8 megapixel IP bullet. It's PoE. Is 24/7 color. It has a 30-meter white light. The functions it has is WDR, HLC, and BLC. The compression it supports is just 265 and 264, and it supports P2P. The IP rating of this is IP66, so a little lower than what we have, which is IP67, but it'll still protect you from most things. It has the red and blue strobes for alarms, so if someone's passing, the strobes will go off. The audio, it's just 1 channel audio, and it also has a built-in microphone. The audio out is a speaker. You can have smart events on the notification from your application. and it supports OnViv. The power consumption is 12 volts or PoE, and it has a lens of 2.8 millimeters. Would you like to go next, please? This is the 4 megapixel dome camera. It's PoE, and it has up to a range of 20 meters for infrared. The functions that it supports is WDR, HLC, and BLC. It has a micro SD of up to 256 gigabytes, has an IP rating of 66, and a lens of 2.8 millimeters. The compression that it supports is 265 and 264, and an NVR or DVR is needed for P2P. The power consumption is 12 volts or PoE, and it does support OnViv. It supports smart events for notifications, and it has one channel audio input, and it has a built-in microphone. If you'd like to go to the next slide, please. This is going to be the 4 megapixel bullet. It's PoE. It has an IR range of 70 meters and a wide dynamic range of 120 dBs. This is one of our license plate recognition cameras for the new line of V series. It can go up to 10,000 license plates, and it has a micro SD storage space of up to 256 gigabytes. The compression it supports is up to 265 and 264. It supports P2P, and the IP rating is 67 indoor and outdoor. It supports audio in and audio out, one channel each, and the alarm, it also has two inputs. It has an input for alarm and an output for alarm, and it supports OnViv. The power consumption for this camera is 12 volts or PoE. You could go next, please. These are some of the accessories that we have to offer with the new line of E-Series cameras. This is the junction box for the ceilings and wall mounting. It's completely aluminum, it's waterproof completely, and it has a good spacing for cable management. It's the EJ Box U. This junction box is basically it's a universal one. You can use it on most of the E-Series cameras, so analogs and IP. You can go to the next one, please. This is another one of our junction boxes for the cameras. It's for ceiling and walls. It's completely made of aluminum. It has good spacing for cable management. It's waterproof, and it has a IP protection rating of 66. The temperature is around minus 40 Celsius to 60 Celsius. If you can go on to the next slide, please. Most of these products, well, all of these products are NDAA compliant. Go on to the next slide, please. And on all items will be 5 years of warranty. These are the software tools. This is for the exportation of the videos from your DVRs and NVRs. So once you export a video, this is the software that you'll be using to play the video on. So it's like a Windows Media Player, or like type of thing. It's this is the RPass, and it's mainly just used to you import the video here, and you'll be able to see the video directly from your computer. You can move on to the next slide, please. This is the hard disk calculator. I myself use this. It's one of the easiest ones that I have personally used. It basically calculates. Now, if you have a camera, like a 2 megapixel camera, if you're going to be recording 24/7, or if you're going to be recording just motion, like say 12 hours or 10 hours maybe, you can, on the top where it says name, and it says resolution, encoding type, and all that, and it's per camera. So what you'll do is you will keep adding the cameras, and on the bottom it'll tell you how much hard drive space you'll need for the cameras in total. If you can go on to the next one, please. This is the IP tool, the scanner for the IP line of the NVRs and the DVRs. It doesn't use the SAP tool, which is what we're all used to. This one's a little more simple. So once you plug it in, it'll come up on this scanner. And if you would like to modify it, it's onto the right, the modify network parameters. You see the IP address, you see the subnet mask and the gateway. All you need to do is just edit it, put in the password under where you see the blank space, and then click modify, and you're done. You like to go on to the next slide. This is the PC client, the NVMS Lite. The main features of this, it has a max channels of 256. This is basically like IVMS, but for our E series. It has a max channel view of 100, compatible with automatic change. Max number of visits 20, and max number of users 32. I'd like to go on to the next slide, please. This is our application to view your cameras on your phone. It's called SuperCam Plus. It's remote monitoring, so IP, DDNS, P2P. You can view the recording. You can like voice intercom, like to two-way audio. It has a PTC. You can control the PTZ directly through the application. It has a remote replay. You can automatically play back the video recording of a certain camera. It has file management. You can set up the alarm straight from the application, and it has other management configurations. You can print the screens. There's local videos or live videos, and you can share the images that you've captured on here. It is compatible with iOS 6.4, 6.0 or higher, and compatible with Android 4.0 or higher. Go to the next slide, please. And that will be it for our line of E-series. We have more products coming, not just the ones that we just showed. We have more in the works coming later. And I thank you all for taking the time to be here with me.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much for sharing all this valuable information about E-Series. And I want to add that one of the main advantages of E-Series line is that it has the NDAA certificate. So this guarantees that it meets the National Defense Authorization Act for quality and safety standards. So for all of your projects that require NDAA, be confident that you can use the E-Series products. So in addition of this, also I will want to add that these products come with a 5-year warranty, and this will demonstrate that the E-Series quality of the products. So E-Series surveillance line offers, as you view on the webinar, both IP analog equipment. So this means that you can choose any kind of equipment that best suits all of your projects, the budget for each project, and also as well as Robert, as well as Michael, we have our technical department ready to help you to install or to just configure all of the products. They are ready to help you. So now we're back to the questions. We have a few questions that we would like to answer, Robert. I don't know if you can help us with this. So from Mr. Ron, he's asking, and I think we already checked on a camera that has two-way audio. So if you can remind us what will be the model for that camera, Robert.
The ones that have two-way audio?
Yes, the one that supports two-way audio from the IP cameras.
The IP cameras, okay.
So while we review the model, so you can write it down, another question from Mr. Taylor is, can the analog cameras with built-in mic work over Cat5, Cat6 for recording, or this is only for coaxial cable?
So for the built-in mic, the recording, if it does support Coaxitron audio, then you will be able to record it through the Coaxitron. But other than that, you will be able to record it with a Cat5, Cat5e, Cat6 cables. If it does have a built-in mic, but if it doesn't, if it's just Coaxitron audio, then you will only be able to record the audio from the coax cable with the balloons.
Thank you, Robert. Another question, the alarm input output on the PTZ is programmable, or what features will be available for this?
So it has a lot of the alarms on the PTZ has a lot of like presets already installed and ready for you to configure. But normally, it's just the presets for the alarm that comes with it.
Thank you, Robert. A question from Mr. Taylor. Can the strobes be disabled? And this is for the camera with the strobes.
The strobes can be disabled, yes. The way you would do that is either by going to going into the setting of the camera itself and disabling it in the events part of the camera.
Thank you, Robert. Another reminder is that at the moment we have an app, but on the coming up months, we'll have the eSeries app on the App Store as well for Android. So this will be another add-on for the eSeries line. A question from Mr. Centeno. Where can I download the calculator?
The calculator, along with all of the other applications that I showed you, will be on our page. If you have somewhere to write this down, once you go to our page, it'll be under video surveillance. Just hover over it, and all the way to the right, you'll see software CMS /VMS. Under that, you'll see eSeries, and then that's where you'll see NVMS Lite. Once you're there at that page, you just go to downloads, and there should be all the accessories for Mac, Windows, and the HD calculator and the RPass player.
Thank you, Robert. And we'll add this URL link to the follow-up email, so you can have all this information ready on your email after the webinar. A question from Mr. Ron. No need to buy a channel license for the software?
The channel license for the software, as in for the cloud recording, or
just for the regular recording? You mentioned that we'll have up to 100 channels on the application.
well, for NVMS, it's just like IVMS. It's just a monitoring software, but it's completely free.
Thank you, Robert. And one last question. Can balloons be used with the cameras without losing features?
Yeah, of course.
Great. Thank you, Robert. Well, thank you so much for answering all of these questions. And please send us on or your follow-up email. Send us any other question that you may have. Our support team is ready to help you on your next project. So let us know if you have a project coming up. We'll be happy to help you just to plan or configure any of the products from the eSeries line. We are ready to help you. So thank you again, everyone, for your time this morning. please keep checking our YouTube channel for all the recordings of our webinars, as well as our epcom.net website, where you will find new webinars coming up for the follow-up for the next coming up days. So thank you, Robert, for this information. I don't know if you want to add anything else. All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you on our next EPCOM webinar. Thank you.